In the movie The Mummy, there's this character, Benny, and he runs into the mummy at some point and starts praying to all of the known religions as he pulls out the symbols of that religion. And he has the Star of David and starts praying in the Hebrew language. Then he has the cross. Either way, he pulls the Buddha, he pulls everything out as to protect himself from the evil that's in front of him. I really enjoyed the movie at that time. And I thought of it, how do I use protection? How do I use symbols as protection? I was the most esoteric, repellent person I knew. I thought people who believed in astrology or even in religious symbols, I thought they were stupid. I didn't believe I wanted to associate myself with people who need that kind of outside intervention to feel safe in the world. Now I think of witchy protection practices as pure play and as reminders. I call it ritualized self-care, or I don't know, I can call it also an aesthetic mindfulness toolbox. I don't use necessarily religious symbols, but I do have a sigil now that I use, and I carve it. I can carve it in a candle. For example, this is HT, and it stands for Hotaru Tomoe. It's the reincarnation of Sailor Saturn. I was such a big fan of Sailor Moon when I was a kid, and Sailor Saturn was the sailor of destruction and rebirth, and I use it. Or I also use it with my serum. I put it on my forehead and I form the HT symbol. This is transparent, but either way, I do it like this, back, and I put it on my forehead, and then I mix it, and it's a reminder of destroying what's not true in the way that I think, or if some belief resurfaces that is untrue, I use it to remind myself to destroy that. Also, this is sage. I burn sage, but I do it sparingly, and I use it for clarity. I know sage can purify, can clear the air, and again, I use it to have fresh energy around me and to bring fresh ideas by removing the old ones. And whenever I'm using something that I burn, I also bring a lot of fresh air inside the house. I don't like strong incenses, and I think the clarity comes, okay, with the smoke that symbolizes purifying, but then with the fresh air that symbolizes new life. Another tool that I'm using is sunglasses. I don't have them here. Okay, I got my sunglasses. They protect me from the sun, but also from people reading me very easily, because my face is very expressive. I speak a lot with my eyes, and I cannot pretend I like something for a long time. You can read it all on my face, so I wear sunglasses for sun protection, for not being easily read by others. And I also use it for creating a sense of scarcity around my gaze. I have beautiful eyes, and they are very alive and clear, and so if I don't show them that much, or if I show them sparingly, it's a positive surprise. All of this, I use them as reminders. They remind me to cut out what's untruth, or to decide how much energy I place into one action or another. The best protection I ever used was against my own thoughts. I have this strong inner critic. I realized, I think 2-3 years ago, I was in a supermarket and I spent a lot of time there. I was tired and I wasn't deciding fast enough what I want to get. And I heard this voice in my head telling me, "Get out of the store, stupid." But it was very aggressive. And then another voice said, "Who are you talking to like this?" And I realized I had two voices in my head that were my own. But which one was the one that was the real me? The one who was judging me and being critical, or the one who was setting some boundaries? That was the moment when I started to realize that I have a strong inner critic and it needs to be shut down. I was ruthless with my thoughts of doing more, being better, moving faster, doing everything like a robot, and just being perfect. I couldn't make any mistakes without the voice coming up and saying, "Oh, you did this," and shaming me. I was so adamant on, no, this does not pass my mind. You are not allowed to speak like that to me. And yeah, since then it improved a lot. I still get some critical thoughts at times, but I catch myself way faster now than going into that spiral of feeling ashamed that I'm not performing to the ideal version of myself the critic had. Another way of protection is protecting myself from people, but in the sense that I assign importance to people, and there are people who occupy a lot of space in my mind because I allow them to occupy that space. I had a friend, we were best friends for 8 years, almost 8 years, and at some point she betrayed me. I was shocked first and then super hurt because it came from her. At the same time, I realized how much space I created for my own dreams, because I was trying, since she was my best friend and she was like the introverted one, and I was making all the plans for us to go to trips, to experience new things. I include her into all of my friends groups. When the importance of that person left my thoughts, I was able to go for my own dreams, where I was the main person, or the main character, as they say now. That created so much space for my dreams to come true that I had the biggest jumps in my life then. And also, when I quit this person 1 month later, after this betrayal, I realized another person that I've been in love with was not who I thought they were. And in the moment, I stopped loving them and I stopped hurting. I realized that person was a narcissist, whereas before I was just thinking how I could have done better, done more. Clearing these two people out of my head and the importance I was assigning them allowed me to... First, I started dating and I started having experiences outside of that friendship. I started doing things I didn't do before. I went skiing and I tried snowboarding, and I tried getting to know people without being overly attached or without being very detached. I just was curious about knowing people, and I won a pitch at the agency that I was working for. I was working as a copywriter back then, and then I got this better paying job that allowed me in the end to move to another country. So everything changed. My protection was actually realizing they were not the right people for me, and how much energy I spent thinking of how to improve my relationship with them, on how to include them, on how to make them feel seen. These rituals, these sigils or burning herbs or, I don't know, using sunglasses, are just reminders. I don't think anything or anyone can cast a spell on me. Like, they would bring some voodoo doll and curse me or anything. This is impossible.